I Soderlund. Sorry, I'm thank you for signing up for this portfolio review. Sorry I'm butchering your name. I'm very excited to look at your portfolio. I've done a couple of reviews this morning and I'm loving the look of yours so far. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up for you. And first off, I just want to say, great job thinking about how to. I know Adobe Portfolio can be somewhat limited, but I love your header image here. It immediately drew my attention and I love that it's looping. It's just like, this is a great example of how to just use an asset or create an asset that still brings a lot of excitement and can draw a lot of interest in something as simple of a tool as Adobe Portfolio. So great job on this. I love this little looping animation. I think it's awesome. It also just gives me a sense of what kind of work you do almost immediately. The one thing I would think of doing is perhaps have this join the ride persistent, because I almost landed on this and immediately I want to like kind of like I didn't know what to do. I was a bit confused at first, but I think it's really cool. So great job on that. Um, project wise. So this is something I say all the time immediately with when I see navigation like this is you have things called, bucketed in motion and illustration. And I think that's okay for you. I think this is your world and I get the need to do that. I just like to present myself as like, yes, I'm a designer and I do a bunch of stuff. And so there's no need for me to categorize this as if I were to do illustration or if I were to do some motion. I just present it as here's my work. Here are all the things that I'm able to do. Um, that can differ depending on the kind of like part of the industry that you're in. If you are seeing a lot of people ask to have that separated, but for me as a designer, as someone who's been doing this for a while, I don't see the need to really separate those two, and that's something I advocate for on portfolio websites. I clicked in the Everyday calendar. I like that project. I mean, the concept art for the treatment of the feature film from darkness, produced by Pentagram Film, based on the concept art. I moved to the mixed storyboards for the key scenes, focusing on the picking the mood. So I love this grid. What I'm not liking is this like all this negative space. And I don't know if that's because of the specific template for Adobe Portfolio. I want to see these images big. And I know you can click into them, but like that's sort of just asking the visitor, the viewer to do more work. And I almost would feel like you'd get more of a payoff, a return on your investment or time if these were just big images. I love your use of the grid here. I love showing this process. This is awesome. And I would also look into potentially including the video. If there's a clip or somewhere where you can get the actual video to see how this artwork, came down to execution, that would be awesome too. I think this description is fine. I know Adobe Portfolio is limited in where you can put text and stuff like that, but maybe even consider adding a little bit more detail about who you worked with, how that process was, if there was any feedback or revisions or things like that. The other thing so when I click projects, it brings me back to this, and then I have to scroll again. So something to think about, motion. Interesting. So in motion, I have now a ton of projects that I didn't see on the homepage. So this motion and illustration is more like your kind of one-off. This is where I put things that aren't really like a full project, I'm guessing. That's kind of my assumption here. And that's okay. But like looking at that navigation, someone who's just visiting the site, I would almost think that these would be like motion specific projects that you're going to have more kind of like context to. So something to think about, right? Like if you want to have a space where you are just sharing things that you are just working on in between projects, maybe it shouldn't be bucketed under these sort of groupings of motion and illustration. Maybe this should be bucketed under something like a blog or a sketchbook or something like that. And again, I don't think there's really the need to distinguish between motion and illustration. I think just from your work, from what I'm seeing, I'm kind of getting a lot of that already. I understand that you do illustration and you do motion, especially from this header image. I think this is awesome. This is, I love how in some of your projects you include your role. That's really important. Again, love seeing this process. What if cures aren't needed? How many solutions?
Oh God.
One of the top 10 things Americans search for.
Understand that feeling.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay, so I'm seeing how you're using, I love that you're using your skills in motion, storyboarding, and directing here. And again, maybe this is just because of the like one, I don't think these images are super helpful, but it's almost like the work that you did, like that what they hired you for is the storyboarding stuff here. And I think that's really important. And when you have it in this grid, it's making it really small. So I would think about how we can make this more primary, this storyboarding, this, you know, directing and being able to envision how this video is going to play out or how you're going to film this video. And making that more the center of this project. I get that this is like the ended the film. I'm just going to lower this. Yeah. So like I get seeing this film, seeing this video first, but then again, putting more focus on this storyboarding and directing. Just really quickly to go over a couple of things. I think you should reconsider, you have a lot of great images, and when it comes to your illustrations and some of the things that you have for video or motion, I think it's really important to give it a lot of space. Make the images big, get people into those details. Having it in this small column within this website, within this portfolio, kind of shrinks all that work down. It shrinks the opportunity to see the detail and stuff like that. Otherwise, I think your descriptions are really good. They're very clear. It gives me a good sense of what the project's about and what you were kind of thinking about. And yeah, I mean, I love the header illustration that you have here. I think that's a great touch that you added. And yeah, keep up the good stuff. I hope you found this helpful. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. Have a great day.